In a small town in Michigan, the unthinkable happened. A parent is in jail because of the actions of her son, who murdered 4 people. Stick around as we delve into this story because it's going to leave you questioning the boundaries of parental responsibility. Hi there, my name's Cherryl Hewson, and in today's video we're going to look at the case of Jennifer Crumbley, a mother who was prosecuted for the crimes of her son Ethan. So what happened? Well, before we delve into the legal and moral aspects of this case, we need to understand the harrowing events that unfolded that day, the events that led to Jennifer Crumbley facing involuntary manslaughter charges. The story of the Crumbleys begins sometime between 2014 and 15 when they moved to Michigan. By March 2021, Ethan started sending his mother disturbing texts about his mental state. In the text, Ethan claimed that demons and ghosts were inside their home. More disturbingly, Ethan filmed himself torturing animals, making Molotov cocktails, and even drew sketches of himself committing a school shooting. It's simply not normal for a 15-year-old boy to believe he's seeing demons and ghosts in the family home. Furthermore, Ethan was exhibiting particularly aggressive behaviour when he was reportedly torturing animals. And finally, there are the drawings, and these suggest that Ethan was heading in a disturbing direction. He needed help, and all of these factors should have been a red flag to his parents. On October 2021, Ethan's only friend moved away, and it's very likely this left Ethan feeling alone and isolated from his peers. Around the same time, the Crumbleys' next-door neighbour contacted the state Child Protective Services to complain that Jennifer and James often left their son home alone without a phone while they went out to bars. In that very same year, the family dog also died, and this apparently caused Ethan to become increasingly depressed. It's also alleged that Ethan kept a baby bird's head in a jar, which he later placed in a school bathroom. On November 26, 2021, James Crumbley buys Ethan a semi-automatic handgun. And of course, Ethan posts a photo on Instagram of himself holding the semi-automatic handgun, and he wrote, "Just got my new beauty today, a Sig Sauer 9mm pistol. Any questions I will answer." And he included an emoji of a smiling face. By November 27, 2021, Jennifer Crumbley and Ethan take turns shooting at a gun range. And Jennifer Crumbley writes on social media that it is a mum and son day testing out his new Christmas present, referring to the handgun. The parents here seem to be completely oblivious to the fact that their son is mentally unwell. By November 29, 2021, and this was the day before the shootings, a teacher noticed Ethan searching the net for ammunition on his phone. The teacher naturally reported this to Ethan's parents, but she did not tell them that Ethan was in trouble. In the school interview, Ethan said that he and his mother had recently travelled to a shooting range because, well, shooting sports are a family hobby. After the school meeting, officials left voicemail and also emailed Jennifer Crumbley, who did not respond. But she did respond to her son Ethan, and in a text she said, "Laugh out loud, I'm not mad at you, you have to learn not to get caught." That night, Ethan records a video declaring his plans to kill students. And then, the next day, on November 30, 2021, the day of the shootings, a second meeting happened with the school. This meeting was called because a teacher found a violent drawing on Ethan's desk. The drawing was of a semi-automatic handgun with the words, "The thoughts won't stop, help me." In another section of the note was a drawing of a bullet with the following words above the bullet, "Blood everywhere." Between the drawing of the gun and the bullet is a drawing of a person who appears to have been shot twice and is bleeding. Below that figure is a drawing of a laughing emoji. Further down the drawing are the words, "My life is useless," and to the right of it are the words, "The world is dead." A teacher took a photo of the drawing and Ethan was immediately taken to the school counselling office. staff phoned Ethan's parents requesting them to come to the school. When Ethan's parents did arrive, they were shown the drawing, and they were told that they should get Ethan into counselling within 48 hours. Otherwise, the school would call Child Protective Services. The school also requested Jennifer and James Crumbly to take their son home, but the Crumbleys refused. And here's the omission. The Crumbleys failed to tell the school that they had recently bought a gun for him. That morning, the school had no other choice but to allow Ethan to return to class. But unbeknown to the staff at the school, Ethan had already hidden the weapon that he would use in the shootings. I think the hiding of the gun by Ethan amounts to premeditation. In other words, Ethan went to considerable lengths to implement his plan to kill others. 12:05, the shootings begin. 4 lives are immediately lost. Let's just pause there for a moment to remember who they were. And let's not forget the 7 other people who were injured that day. Ethan continued to walk through the school, picking and choosing who was going to die and who was going to live. And at 1:37, Jennifer Crumbly texted her son saying, "Ethan, don't do it." By that time, it was too late. The fact that Jennifer Crumbly texted her son with the words, "Ethan, don't do it," infers that she was fully aware that her son had the potential to harm others. And this is further supported by the fact that at 1:37, James Crumbly called 911 to report a 6-hour SP 2022 handgun as missing, and he also said to police that Ethan could be the gunman at Oxford High. December 1, 2021, Ethan, at age 15, is charged as an adult with 4 counts of murder and terrorism. December 13, 2023, Ethan was sentenced to life imprisonment for the killing of 4 students and terrorising others at Oxford High School. Now for part 2, let's have a look at the charges against Jennifer Crumbly and how the jury came to find her guilty of 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. Jennifer, along with her husband James Crumbly, were charged under the Michigan Penal Code, section 750.321, and this is the particular section that the charges fell under. I think this paragraph in NBC News neatly sums up the legal elements of the provision. The article states that to find the Crumbleys guilty of 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, each representing one of the victims, the jury had to agree that she was either grossly negligent when she failed to properly store the firearms to prevent access to her minor son, or that as a parent she had a legal duty to prevent her son from harming others, but neglected that responsibility. Now, I want to focus on 2 specific words in the Penal Code. One is negligence, and the other is a duty, a legal duty that she had to protect others in regard to her son. First up, negligence. The finding of negligence hinged on whether the firearm was safely stored. When first asked about the firearm, Jennifer Crumbly said that it was in her car, and then she said it was in her house. And then she went on to testify that she'd left the responsibility of storing the weapon to her husband, who also had 2 guns that he kept locked up. Jennifer Crumbly could not provide an adequate reason for why Ethan ended up with the firearm on the day of the shooting. And as Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald put it, this is the last picture we have of the gun until we see it murder 4 kids on November 30, and the person that's holding that weapon is Jennifer Crumbly. And that is essentially why the jury found Jennifer Crumbly grossly negligent. Second, the legal duty as a parent. As a parent, Jennifer Crumbly had a legal duty to prevent Ethan from harming himself or others. So let's expand on this with some legal basics. When a child is born, the birth certificate contains the names of the parents. This marks the beginning of parental responsibility for the named parents, and that parental responsibility does not end until the child has reached the age of majority or is no longer considered in law to be a minor. In Michigan, Parental responsibility ends at age 18. Ethan was 15 at the time of the shootings. There are, of course, exceptions to the age of majority rule. For example, when a child reaches the age of majority and they cannot care for themselves without the aid of their parents, and in this case, parental responsibility continues. But what does the legal duty mean for parents in general? Well, in the US, as in other common law countries, parents are legally obliged to act in their child's best interests, and this is an overarching legal requirement. In Jennifer Crumbley's case, she didn't prioritise Ethan's well-being and development. She put her own interests first. This breached the duty of care she had for Ethan, and that contributed to her being found guilty of 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. The question is, does this mean that parents will be held liable for all the unlawful acts of their children? Well, yes, maybe. But the facts here are unique in that Ethan's parents ignored every opportunity to stem what happened that tragic day. They could have placed the firearm in a secure safe away from Ethan. They could have provided Ethan with counselling. They could have complied with the school's request on that day that he should go home. If the Crumbleys had just taken one of these actions, then the needless death of 4 people and injury to others simply wouldn't have happened. However, the prosecutor's conviction of Jennifer sets a new legal precedent, and this suggests that other prosecutors could apply this very same precedent in cases involving unlawful, serious acts of a child and then holding a parent responsible. And it would be a mistake to think that this could only happen in Michigan. It could happen in any other state or indeed any other common law country. In fact, most common law countries have very similar criminal codes, and that means when a novel legal conviction is secured, prosecutors will look to see if the Crumbly precedent applies in their situation or whether it applies to their set of facts. I hope this case creates a strong incentive in the minds of parents to keep firearms well out of the reach of children. But the unfortunate thing here is about 3/4 of school shooters obtain their weapon from a parent or close relative. I want to wrap this up now because this is a heartbreaking story. It's easy to identify what went wrong here. The heinous actions of Ethan caused by Jennifer Crumbly's complete indifference to the tragedy that was unfolding around her. Let's come together in the comments section below. Share your thoughts on how we, as a society, can work together to prevent such devastating events. Your perspective matters, and by engaging in meaningful conversation, we each can contribute to building a safer and more compassionate community. And don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more insightful content. And join us in our mission for a better, more informed world. Until next time, take care.